This is an amazing organisation that has created a movement that will become bigger and bigger and bigger. And you'll be able to say, where were you when it all started? You can say right here in Brisbane 2025. So congratulations to each of you. Look, I've been listening to so many of the speeches today and we've had some great contributions today. I loved hearing from my former colleague and good friend Tony Abbott today, a great tragedy that Australia lost him as Prime Minister. And think about that sliding door moment if he'd still been there and still been there and still been there. Maybe we wouldn't be here because Australia would be in safe hands. But this is the problem. This is the problem we've got in Australia today. We don't quite know where those safe hands are anymore. And I just think we've reached a point of not cancel culture, but I think we've got consequence culture that we've got to now start to realise needs to be enforced. Those who are making bad decisions, they say on our behalf they're doing the best thing for us. No. Those who are making bad decisions, there has to be consequences for them. Before they head off to their millionaire mansions in retirement, the people in politics who are doing the wrong thing by us need to be held to account. And we need to have leadership that brings them to that account. It's very simple. The key thing for me, and I've looked at this because I've watched this cancel culture evolve. I've watched people criticise me. And when I was here last year, I was making the point that the Liberal National Party here in Queensland told their state local members to stay away from CPAC. You can't be seen with these rogue Conservatives because, after all, they're all cookers and crackpots and they're crazies and they're extremes. I'm not going to let the left continue to define who we are. We have to define who we are. We need to make the point that the radicals in Australian politics are the ones who run around and they masquerade and call themselves moderates. So if you're not a moderate, you're an extreme. They're progressive. So if you're not progressive, you're somehow regressive. No, they're the radicals. They're the ones trying to change Australia from beneath our feet. And then you've got these people, and as much as I believe and strongly believe in the right to freedom of speech and the responsibilities which go with it, I've got to say to you that I also believe that CPAC as a movement in America has got to the point where political people who come along, members of political parties, those who are leaders and deputy leaders and who want to be leaders, they come and they say these things and they've ticked the box. Yep, staff told me I should be seen at CPAC. It'll be good for the vote. It'll be great. Right, box tick done. 364 days of the year they're out doing exactly the opposite to what they told you in a 15-minute speech here. Now, I think that's wrong. I really believe that is wrong. People who hide in conservative clothing, but in fact go off and do the work of the progressives and the moderates, in other words, the Labor light stuff. That's what's happening. It has happened to us. That's what's been done to us. So as much as I believe in freedom of speech and as much as I've heard people rightly say today, let's not cancel people because they say stuff we don't agree with. I don't disagree with that. However, I think we should be ready as an organisation to deplatform chinos, conservatives in name only. I mean, net zero is the example that sticks in my mind, consigning my children and grandchildren and, God willing, those that will come after them to a worse standard of living that I was privileged to receive from my parents and grandparents and those who came before them. People who worked hard for this country, nothing out of the box, just honest toilers, doing what they could to make a difference for themselves and their families, who set us up in a way, as an amazing generation of people, set us up in a way that we should forever be indebted to them. But now it's all being undone, and I don't understand what the end game is. I just don't understand what the end game is at all. And a nation is being divided, pitted against each other, based around race and religion and everybody's got a place in Australia, but you've got to be who you are for Australia. You can't change Australia just because you've come here and you want to recreate the old place. You've got to contribute. We've got a nation of not just migrants, but settlers, people who came and built. And I loved watching those who came in that post-war migration period who said, we didn't just come to Australia, we didn't just migrate, we came to build Australia. And I think that is really a critical thing we have to re-engage young people on particularly. Because I think young people are hungry for leadership, hungry for direction, hungry to know that the things their parents and their grandparents achieved can actually be achieved by them, that there is reward for effort, that there actually is a culture that says, if you stand for something, you'll achieve something. And of course, everyone at the moment, and I don't mean to be critical of anyone who's spoken before me, well, not too much anyway, but everyone's looking for the person, the leader. We've had messiahs before, and the greatest messiah of them all, of course, ended up being crucified. And all I simply say to you is that every messiah needs a movement. Every person who wants to lead needs to have a platform of people around them prepared to support, because the last thing I want to see is a great person like Jacinta Napigipa-Price, for instance, being sacrificed on the altar of some political expediency somewhere down the track. We really need to be deliberate in every person we send to every parliament in this country. And no offence to Nick and others who come from state parliaments, there's no Queensland state members here, as far as I know, because they've been all told to stay away. But I just simply say it's not about the provinces, can I put it that way? It's got to be about the nation, because there's nothing more important than our federal parliament. I think we need a smaller federal parliament, by the way. I don't think we need 150 members. I think we could go back to that pre-1984 Hawke level where they increased the parliament, and I think we could bring it back to about 128. And sorry, Pauline, but that might mean that we'll have fewer senators, but she'd probably still be there if you get what I mean. But in the end, we need quality over quantity, and we need to get on with that sort of thing. But the quality is the issue that each and every one of us can have a role in. I've struggled the last couple of federal election cycles to vote Liberal, as I've always done my entire voting life. I really have. I've struggled, because the party that I had subscribed to has been taken over by these woke, lefty, inner-city, progressive moderates who say they're conservative, but that's total BS. And I'm told I should encourage you all, if you're not a member of a political party, go and join one. But the trouble is, I don't believe you'll get in. I don't believe they'll let you in. Because in Victoria, in New South Wales and here in Queensland, they're more interested in throwing you out than letting you in. And worse still, in those three states, including here in Queensland, where, by the way, the current state government did not win an additional seat in metropolitan Brisbane. They won government, which is fantastic, but they didn't win an additional seat in metropolitan Brisbane because they forgot who they were standing for. They were trying to be Labor light and trying to be woke and lefty and inner city and all this stuff. It's now been taken over. The party's been taken over right along the eastern seaboard by these progressive moderates, conservatives in name only. And their mission is to keep control. They want to keep control of the heap that's left, the smouldering ruins of the Liberal Party. They want to be the ones that everyone has to come to and everybody has to subscribe to. They don't care about Australia, they only care about their own self-importance. So join, for sure. Join, for sure. Let me know if you can get in, it'd be fantastic. But my general suspicion is, because I've seen it happen, I sat for a year on the state executive of the Liberal National Party before I quit it. They go through everybody's social media. Talk about free speech. They go through everybody's social media. Oh, you like Barclay McGain, did you? Oh, you can't join the party. I won't get in then. Yeah, well, you won't get in. You're up the creek. But it's nice up here on the creek. But I just simply make the point that we can change things. We can produce change within the political movements of Australia by joining. I agree with that. So you should. But only if those currently in charge will let you in, and they won't. Because they're more invested in themselves than they are in our country. And therein, my friends, lies the challenge, the problem. We've got to keep CPAC growing. Next year, not 1,100, 2,100. Let's go for that. Tell your friends, bring along 20 more next year, and Andrew Cooper will have more sleepless nights trying to find an even bigger venue. Thank you for being here. Cheers.